So as soon as you want to. You are good to go, sir.
All right, hello, I'm happy to announce and call to order the Children's Services Council of Leon County Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday, April 8th at 12:07 p.m. We will first start with the roll call.
Mr. Paul Mitchell.
Here.
Mr. Brent Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Gerald Jones.
All are present. Thank you so very much. I'll take a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I will move the agenda.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, it passes. We'll now start with general public comment. Do we have any speakers?
There's no general public comment, sir.
All right, timeline for executive director evaluation.
I am going to ask Ms. McPhail to just present a proposed adjustment to the evaluation of the executive director.
On page 3, council members, you will see a request to adjust the timeline for her annual evaluation process, shifting the conclusion from December, moving it up to September. So instead of the current process, which usually begins in October and concludes in December, it would begin in July and conclude in September. No other aspects of the evaluation process are proposed to being changed. It helps align with the fiscal cycles, but also for some operational efficiency and council member responses instead of having it being done over the holidays, which we ran into several issues for the past 2 years in consultation with our general counsel, suggested moving it up a quarter so that we would not run into that. That is the proposal before you.
Right? Any discussion, members?
I never had a problem with it, so I don't know. But I also don't have a problem with moving it up. It worked fine for me and it wasn't a big deal in terms of aligning it with the fiscal year, but I don't have a problem moving it up. Because once we do it, it's done. The first year will be a shortened evaluation period, but I don't.
Same. All right, yeah, I see no problem with it. I'm assuming that if there are changes in their package, then it would then be ratified subsequently in the budget, right? And so we would put it in line with the budget year rather than after we've already approved the budget.
But it won't be. That's the point, is that we are approving the budget long before we would do this. So it doesn't accomplish that. Again, I don't care. I mean, if for the holidays, I don't ever remember it being a problem, but it may have for other people. So what the heck? I don't care.
It aligns me with all the other, it just aligns the executive director's process with all our other teams.
Okay.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
literally was, we had about 4 team members or council members that it was incredibly difficult to get responses over that Thanksgiving break. And so it's partially to do with that as well.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
Nothing else changes about the process, how it influences anything else or the contract, and nothing. It's just moving the timeline.
Okay. All right.
So the options kind of before you: approve, deny, or other directions.
So I moved approval
Thank you.
and
There's
Mr. Thompson said.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I heard same. My bad.
yeah, all right, then, could you please note in the minutes that it's been properly made that we would accept the new timeline, and it'll be coming to the full board, right? And the language would include that it comes with the recommendation of the executive committee.
Okay.
Right?
You got it.
Got it. All right, then.
Thank you.
Governing council meeting agenda review.
So the governing council meeting draft agenda would be page 3 of your packet. You'll see it there on consent. We've got the minutes from the March 5th meeting, the executive director's report, general counsel, committee reports from this meeting. We will take off per the chair. We don't need to do the appointment to Early Learning Coalition because that's already been handled. The Finance and Budget Committee, that report, the financials for February, the audit will be presented, and Mr. Mitchell will ask that you do that.
Oh, that's right, because yes,
Because they are going to come before Finance and Budget
Right.
today and are not available on that day. For programming, we hope to accept the final strategic planning goals And under programming number 8, there was a request by Councilmember Ally Richards to add the MAMA program, and you will see the flyer. It's a pink and green flyer that you
Yeah.
received. Chris Gorsick is here, and Chris, who runs this program, has alerted me that she is not available to give an update on this program at our meeting date. And so my recommendation is that we move that to June so that she can be available.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so with that, we will make a note to add the request for the MAMA program to the June agenda, which leaves our number 8 on the agenda, as is our upcoming meetings, member comments and adjournment.
Is there any, I'm sorry, do we need to be recognized? Okay. Is there any additional context on how the request was made to incorporate this into the plan?
So.
Like, I mean, can you point me to where in it she was suggesting it be added or revised? Because this is a provider, right?
It is. It is.
Wait, so maybe I misunderstood. The proposal is to put this into our strategic goals?
No.
Oh, I
Okay,
misunderstood.
yeah,
So
it's just a
hit me
presentation.
harder and left and right, and then I'll try to track.
The ask was that the MAMA program come and present on what they do and their impact. And Councilmember Richards would then subsequently ask for a proposal to be provided to the executive director for review and consideration at the subsequent meeting, which if it would have been April, the subsequent meeting would be June. However, the provider has said they can't come in April because she can't come to that meeting. So that would move it to the presentation on the program itself being in June with either a possible request that would come in June for you to approve or moving that to July. If the president, go ahead.
That's the provider's request, right? That they would move it to you.
And,
All right.
and Mr. Chair, if I could, as long as Chris is sitting here, if I'm excited about it, the presentation in June now. If between now and June, there is recognizing that we are putting together a budget, if there is going to be a request and you have an idea, even if it's just back of the napkin kind of stuff, not suggesting that in any way, shape, or form that this council is going to approve it, but in the event that they do, it would be nice to have it sort of tucked in. So if you've got some ideas, if Councilmember Richards does, it would be nice.
Excuse me. Ms. Sorensen, would you please approach the podium, give us your name, address for the public record, and we'll then participate in the dialogue.
Chris Sorchik, the Executive Director at Capital Area Healthy Start, 2650 Appalachian Parkway.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mitchell.
Yeah, so if I can get, I don't want to prejudice the process, as though we're going to support this. I am anxious. I love this. I think this is such a cool program, and I'm anxious to hear sort of your proposal and your presentation and proposal. But because you're not going to be able to do it in April, and recognizing that we're trying to put together a budget, and my guess is it'll be more than $15 or $20. So if that's the case, if you've got some ballpark numbers that I can just sort of stick on the side of the budget, waiting for the presentation and any potential decision by the council, it would be great.
Well, if I may offer a suggestion, in the interim, since you know you're coming in June instead of April, any information that you need to forward to the executive director would be helpful to do so in the interim. And such when you did such then in June, it would then come with both the vetting of the office and its feasibility feasibility in terms of whether or not the project is compliant. And then subsequently, when we come in June, then you can come back along with the recommendation coming from the staff.
I'm happy to, that's fine.
All right, does that work for you all? And that way you're not delayed, but you would just be to decide then in June that you would then come back in July. Here, if you give us the information in the interim time between our next meeting, then the staff can be doing its due diligence.
Absolutely.
Come back to the council. And I too think this is a great idea.
This from a number standpoint, the sooner just a bulk. We are going to put together a budget that will link to a millage rate, that will link to votes, and that will tie in right around that same period. So if you can get that to the executive director and see if you can share it with me, just so we got it. Again, I'm guessing it's not, $10 million, but I'm also guessing it's not $100.
But this is coming outside of our process, right?
Correct.
And so subsequently, we have to make certain that we create precedent in terms of how we manage this. So,
Completely understand.
so it comes to the staff makes a recommendation to us. But we, and subsequently then armed with that, and your then public proposal, we can then make determinations whether we fund, send you back to the drawing board, or it's not permissible, but that helps the process. And subsequently, that's where we've managed them in the past. And I wouldn't want us it to be anything different than what we've done for other providers.
I agree.
But again, this sounds exciting. Look forward to hearing more.
Yep.
Is that sufficient?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I just, and Chris, I think you may know where I might direct some questioning on this, is that I want to make certain on this. First, I want to echo what my colleague said in terms of the importance of this. But I think it's also important for us to make sure that we've exhausted whether or not the managing entity has a role in funding any of this for Medicaid recipients.
Such a good point.
And so I want to make sure that, and it's been a hard kind of maze for me to follow, but Healthy Start is a named Medicaid provider. We know that. And so you can bill certain things directly to Medicaid. But also there's the Medicaid managed care providers who, at least my understanding of their most recent contracts, provide provisions for them to be the liaison to the managing entities. And I just want to make sure that they're doing their funded role and we're not supplanting any of the monies that should be provided from them. They should be at the table with us.
Great.
Thank you so very much. And thank you also for the great work that you do.
Yep.
You're already in collaboration with us successfully. So we look forward to hearing more about it. So thank you so very much. And thank you for coming and sharing with us today.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Next meeting agenda.
So this is okay, then we will prepare this for distribution, posting, noticing and all.
Anybody got any final questions about the next week's meeting?
It's nothing about the meeting and the agenda itself, just one of the agenda items. I sent an email about parental involvement and another
Which part?
question. This is on the strategic plan and
Who's going to present on the strategic plan?
We are.
there was, again, maybe I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna pause between this meeting and the next meeting with my other point, and we'll take it from there.
Sure you don't have something you want to share with us now that we can.
No,
Fair
it's
enough.
okay, because I wanna go through the regular process of, hey, if you've got some feedback, which the Seek and Holly have been good at taking my feedback, incorporating it in to the current plan. And I just said, there's two more things, and I'll do it with them and give them the chance to incorporate it, and then you'll send everybody the final a proposal.
That's good, and I think. What do I think? I think that maybe. We'll talk, yes. So yes, all of that.
This strategic plan, this is an updated strategic plan?
It's the updated strategic goals with the objectives under each.
And this was done by the committee that, the immediate past vice chair did, right?
The ad hoc committee.
And we'll talk about this at our next meeting.
Well, I think we're accepting it, right? I mean, that would be
The goal is to accept those as your strategic goals.
So-
Plan.
So let me, and I apologize, and I have not weighed in before now. I think that our strategic plan, this is a strategic, I need water. No, don't give me any water, I'm fine, I'm. All right. But this is gonna be our strategic plan for the next 4 years. I think that it ought to be workshopped for the entire board. And the reason I say that is I think that outside of a meet, if you think about everything else that we've done as a foundational action, has had the segregation of it separate from, I mean, like when we did our what was it, the
Needs assessment.
needs assessment. I just think this is just too huge. I think it ought to have a robust conversation, potentially updates, changes to it. And I think that occurs in a workshop outside of a meeting. And I appreciate the persons who have participated, and I was a member and I think only came to one meeting. But I think that this requires a robust discussion. We've also got new people who were not a part of that process. So I just think that it requires more than just here. It can be presented, and I'm not trying to turn over the apple cart. Just wanted us to think about this. We can present it, and then we schedule a time. If people agree with me,
I totally agree with
if
you.
people agree with me, then we can then set a date for us to then talk about coming on. You know how you treated us so good. We had our lions and bears and tigers on mine, right? You remember that process. And I just think that would be really cool for us to really get in it. You remember how, and then we talk about how we take the overlay of this, because this is also going to fund our funding cycles for the next 6 years. I just think that a scheduled meeting isn't where that happens. I think it needs to be a little less formal, because it really breeds the kind of conversation where all of our priorities as members of the council can be manifest in what will be this initial framework. And we're grateful for the work of the committee that came up with this. But, that we can, I just think that we ought to, the formal acceptance, the process just needs to be amended slightly.
So, Mr. Chair, I want to piggyback on that. I love that, and I'll tell you why. I think it was at the last meeting, we went through it, but we went through it at a sort of 30,000-foot view and very quickly. And
I'm just
on the stuff that I'm not an expert, which is pretty much the whole thing, I just was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I would love a deeper dive, and I think a workshop affords us that ability.
Us a chance. I just think that because it's a foundational document, I think the public can also be invited, although they can speak. We share this document publicly, communicate it to our public, whatever else. They can be present when we have the conversation. People can also chime in as a freestanding conversation about our future for the next 5. And I think it is well timed, taking us back again to what school board member,
Yes, have I put my name on a ballot?
Are you on that?
I'm not.
You tell me where you live, I'll get you on it. But Treasurer Mitchell said also this conversation comes at a unique time as we talk about potentially in the next couple of months, what will be our millage rate and the financial direction of the agency too. So I think a robust public conversation regarding the same is well timed. Now I know that cannot happen because I know you probably told me at the last meeting they'll be voting on it. I'm happy to bring that up. I don't know if the council has the wherewithal of Mr. Johnson. Keep saying Councilmember Johnson agrees with me, but I would like to bring that to my recommendation to the full board for consideration. Mr. Johnson, you have any thoughts?
Well, I think the ultimate importance is both the council members themselves take ownership of this and that the public has adequate visibility into it. Separating that statement from my own personal side was, I'm getting a little deaf by meeting on this because I participated in every one of then Council Member Watts's meetings, and it's been on the full council agenda at least twice. But again, I'll go back to how I opened. If in your estimation, Mr. Chair, that it gets council member buy-in and we give the public some visibility into it, then I'm not getting in front of that. I'm good with it.
Mr. Chair,
Well, I did, yes, ma'am.
might I suggest that we just change that instead of final review? Because again, this is our working agenda, just change it to strategic plan. And then that way, whatever you want to bring up, you can do that or.
Okay. And this is my first, the last meeting was the first meeting I can recall that I had missed as chair. So I apologize and I missed any previous discussion. But I would have possibly said then what I'm saying now, because that has been the way we have dealt with strategic plans. That's the way all the jurisdictions deal with strategic plans. There is a committee, a subset that brings recommendations, but then because of the length of its impact in terms of time, you want to make certain you get that type of vetting and that type of public exposure because you're held accountable to it. It is our scorecard, for lack of a better term. And I just think that there ought to be, and I know, although I don't mind a meeting that, in our regular scheduled meeting does not lend itself for the type of informality in terms of how we discuss it. I like charts and activities, right, with a facilitator that helps us to come up with some robust conclusions. And that can be this team, it can be you doing it, but how that conversation about changes that occur or updates that come to through this parent document are then subsequently captured and memorialized through exchange, dialogue, and subsequent votes to amend this document. And I don't know if a council meeting is the right environment by which that type of creative, innovative discussions occur. But I appreciate where you come from. And again, thank you for your work in this and on this document. And with the exception of the newest members, a great number of people were on that committee. But again, for those of us who weren't, and there were about 3 or 4 of us, this gives us opportunity to also engage and to hear the thoughts that came from many of you and how you got to some of the conclusions and recommendations you have, right? So that's what I'm going to bring back to the council. I appreciate you making Instead of final review, but just strategic plan. And then after I make my recommendation, it either sinks or flies or however. But
And I'll just close with this, Mr. Chair. To me, it's more that meeting that you're referring to where we have, where we all came together and it was very informal. More came out of that one meeting than any other meeting that I can point to. And it was that informality and it was the ability to sort of head down, one path or another. I'm sensitive to, what Mr. Johnson has mentioned about, this, yeah. And believe me, I attend a meeting or two. I don't see it just as a strategic plan. I see that shaping the meeting, but I'm hoping it's also a team building effort. And again, with so many new members since that meeting, that I refer to it as the meeting where we all wore our jammies. Everybody came very casual, and I would love another one of those.
yes. All right, well, what?
The executive committee, you often recommend changes.
That's what I wanted to see.
You don't need to.
Well, I'll make that motion. I mean, if that's the.
No, I don't want to be heavy-handed because it is my idea. I want us to.
I'm good. I told you I'm good.
We're all good.
I trust your guys's input, insights enough, saying that if you see that additional value, I think ultimately, regardless of how I feel personally, if it gets a better adoption within the council members and gives the public some insights into it, I think it's a great idea. I'm all for it.
And
Well, so
Is there a motion?
but my motion is,
may I also suggest maybe this would be a time to look at a similar structure to that of the commissions, the county, the city, and the school board, where they have a set time every year where they do their retreat. They
love
do
that.
their
Yes.
all of the
their
things.
Johnny
So
party. Yeah.
and so if we did that, then it could be a part of our calendar, it would be a part of your schedules. And then we don't have to try to find that time. From my perspective, and I think I speak on behalf of the team, we would like to have this done and in place before the beginning of the fiscal year, because it informs the budget, it informs procurement, it informs all of that. So maybe now's the time to think about, well, what time of year do we want to plan that retreat every year?
So what I would suggest is that we can take that up when we have this workshop. But for now, what I would like is a motion, and I'd like for you, based upon what she said, because she wants to talk about the fiscal year,
Yeah.
that you would say in May or something like that.
I love the idea of one, delaying a decision on this. As we are in coordination with a meeting as soon as possible for the doodle poll, but that we also establish at that meeting a set time every year that we plan on doing it that doesn't conflict with the county or the school board, seeing as though those are the members that we have on here. But I would like it to be in the second half of May. And then no matter what year it is, there isn't legislative session. Well, except there is. But and I think that gives us, if it's just the second half of May.
But what I'd like us to do is to just deal with the workshop, and then when we come to the workshop, let's then talk about the workshop
Okay.
about the retreat.
Oh, okay. Yes. This workshop would just be
Strategic plan.
right.
And we can add stuff to it, like, for example, we might want to do a legislative update as a part of that workshop. where we
Right.
Bring in.
This will be our pretend what are we calling this?
Strategic plan,
Yeah,
workshop.
well, right, this will be the first one that will lead to an annual meeting
Yeah.
where we do the same
So
thing.
let's have everybody present when we make the recommendation for when we want to do our annual retreat.
Right, okay,
Right, but for now, we just want to do the workshop and we want to have it within.
and have an annual retreat, that's the recommendation.
If at all possible, we need to have it in May.
And have it in May.
And I like the idea of
So,
15th or later that doesn't conflict with, but that's not my motion. My motion is that we recommend a workshop, and that
In the
is
latter
the
part of May.
precursor to what will be our annual retreat that will occur middle of May. But, pardon me, that will occur. And I like,
towards the end of May, right?
yes,
All right, the latter part of May, which will give y'all time to be prepared for us, right? Okay, and time enough for you to have done your survey monkey, pick your date, that type of thing.
and this year, if it's a little sooner, I'm okay with that. I mean, if you want to send out the Survey Monkey. That's when we will, the first meeting is when we will set the annual time. And so recognizing just our current calendar, and I'm good doing it.
How about we do this? Can we do it within the next 45 days? Because May will only give you one Saturday at the latter part of the month. Because
Okay.
one Saturday is going to be devoted to Memorial Day.
Okay,
So how about
Yes, sir.
how we do it within the next 45 days? And that way, that'll give you more than just one single option if we do it the latter part of May, because we end up on one weekend.
okay. Oh, and you want to do it on a Saturday? John, good. I know that's the retreat house.
Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
all right. All right, we've got a motion that we would have the retreat of the strategic planning workshop scheduled within the next 45 days for our consideration.
Yeah, I
Mr.
second.
Johnson
And it's
did.
properly moved and seconded, is subsequently passed. All right, thank you, Mrs. Green, thank you, Holly. McPhail, Mrs. McPhail, and I call her like her maiden name.
I know,
Oh, yeah, he does like, and we've been friends for 40 years. We came in together as freshmen and I still call her by her maiden name. Okay. That's less on the agenda. Any final comments, friends? Mr. Johnson, thank you for saying yes.
You're very welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for saying yes. I really appreciate you. I look forward to, and let me also, as a part of the public comment, my public comment, also thank your predecessor and the representative for the Department of Children and Families, Mr. Terrence Watts, who was a fantastic addition. Everyone who served with us from the Department of Children and Families had brought
I got some news on that.
okay, who have brought so much to our discussions and have been such an integral part of what we have done and propping up the Children's Services Council from the
Yeah.
very beginning. I can't tell you what it has meant to have that intel from the Children's Services Council as a part of our discussions. It has been extremely important. And then to have had them at as a part of the executive committee has been even more impactful. And so I want to thank Mr. Watts publicly and thank Mr. Johnson yet again for saying yes as our vice chair.
I think he might be listening, actually. I might have been on the phone with him just a few minutes before I walked in.
Oh, really?
Mr. Watts will be taking. a
He is
position
driving.
in,
I don't know if there's,
Central South Florida,
Oh,
a community director for DCF, and as a result, will probably be the designee to the Martin County CSC and the St. Lucie CSC.
okay.
So he thought he was
I have time.
exiting stage left, and it looks like he's coming back in on stage right, so, yes.
Well,
No,
No.
not initially, not initially.
well, it's great to hear that. Congratulations to him. Any other final comments? All right, we are adjourned.